Good morning, listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today, the 28th of March, 2024, we bring you critical updates from around the globe. In Gaza, a severe humanitarian crisis is unfolding. The region faces a catastrophic supply shortage with a deficit of at least 500,000 tons between the needed and received supplies due to ongoing conflict. Aid efforts are significantly hampered, with truck deliveries down to a third of their pre-war average, and now extensive reliance is being placed on costly and limited airdrops and proposed maritime solutions. The United States has announced plans for a floating pier and a 1,800-foot-long causeway to boost aid delivery, although these are not yet operational. This crisis has escalated to the point where up to half of Gaza's population faces the threat of starvation by July. The United Nations Secretary General has declared this situation an entirely man-made disaster. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story and more, here on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Hello and welcome to Hot Topic and Fresh News. I'm your host Emily, coming to you live from New York City.
And this is David, joining in from San Francisco.
We're thrilled to have you with us today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our updates. Straight to the hot topics.
Could you explain the scale of the aid shortage in Gaza right now?
Absolutely. The deficit in Gaza has reached a staggering 500,000 tons of essential supplies, including food and medical necessities. This is a result of the ongoing conflict, which has severely restricted the flow of aid.
How did the conflict affect the daily supply system that Gaza relied on?
Before the conflict, Gaza received supplies primarily via truckloads through major crossings like Kerem Shalom and Rafah. Typically, about 500 trucks would enter each working day. Since the conflict started, the numbers have drastically reduced, causing major shortages.
What are the alternatives being looked at to mitigate this crisis?
There have been efforts to deliver aid via air and sea, though these methods are significantly less efficient than land routes. The logistics and security concerns have made these alternatives far from adequate in meeting the needs.
What has the international response been like?
International pressure has been mounting, especially from organizations and governments, including the United States. They are pressing for increased aid flow and are trying to facilitate better logistics, but the situation remains dire.
With such a critical situation, what are the projected implications if this crisis continues?
Experts are warning that up to half of Gaza's population could face starvation if the situation doesn't improve drastically. The United Nations Secretary General has termed it an entirely man-made disaster, emphasizing the urgent need for escalated aid and a resolution to the conflict.
Can you detail the current efforts to facilitate aid delivery to Gaza by sea?
Certainly. Aid groups like World Central Kitchen and Open Arms have managed to deliver 200 tons of food and water by sea using barges. Moreover, the United States has announced plans for a more structured maritime aid route involving a floating pier and a 1,800-foot-long causeway, aiming to significantly increase daily meal deliveries.
How effective are these sea deliveries compared to the pre-war truck deliveries?
The sea routes are a makeshift solution and, while necessary, they're not as efficient as land deliveries. Before the conflict, the daily average was about 7,500 tons of goods. Now, even with these efforts, we're seeing a fraction of that number.
What about the airdrops? How significant are they in this context?
Airdrops have been another critical method, with over 40 conducted in recent months. However, they tend to deliver only a few tons at a time, which is far less than what's needed given the sheer scale of the deficit.
What's the status of land supply routes now?
After significant negotiations, Israel reopened the Rafah and Kerem Shalom crossings. However, despite being operational, the number of trucks passing through has dropped dramatically, only about a third of the pre-war levels, largely due to stringent inspections slowing the process.
With these challenges in logistics, what's the outlook for resolving the aid crisis?
The outlook remains grim unless these alternative routes can be scaled up significantly. The international community continues to push for more efficient solutions, but as of now, the aid reaching Gaza is insufficient to meet the escalating needs.
Could you shed some light on the Israeli inspections at the Cypriot port of Larnaca for maritime aid?
Israel is conducting thorough inspections in Larnaca to ensure that the aid sent by sea meets security requirements. This is part of their control measures, though it also adds another layer of delay to the aid reaching Gaza.
What impact are Chef Jose Andres and his organization having with their sea-based aid efforts?
Chef Jose Andres and World Central Kitchen, with the support of the United Arab Emirates and the European Commission, have been pivotal. They're using innovative methods like a barge and makeshift jetties to deliver aid, and Andres is committed to increasing the aid volume with each shipment.
How significant is the new northern Gaza crossing, known as Gate 96, in alleviating the aid situation?
Gate 96 has relieved some of the pressure by allowing more aid to enter northern Gaza. However, the relief is limited as the volume of aid still falls short of the needs, and there's ongoing tension between Israeli authorities and international organizations over the efficiency of aid distribution.
Speaking of efficiency, how do airdrops compare to other methods of aid delivery?
Airdrops are faster in bypassing border controls and can deliver aid directly to areas where road access is problematic. Unfortunately, they are significantly more costly and deliver much less aid per mission compared to land or sea routes. Each airdrop typically carries just 3 tons, which is far less than what a truck can transport.
It seems there are inherent risks and challenges with each method of aid delivery. Could the U.S. Maritime Plan really make a significant difference?
Potentially, yes. According to experts like Salvatore Mercogliano, the U.S. plan could scale up aid delivery significantly. The use of a floating pier and causeway is designed to streamline the process and increase the quantity of aid. However, it's crucial that these plans are implemented effectively to make a real difference.
It's clear that while these efforts are commendable, the scale of the crisis requires even more robust and coordinated action. The complexity of delivering aid to Gaza highlights not just logistical challenges but also the deep geopolitical tensions affecting the region. With these ambitious plans in place, what are the anticipated challenges in maintaining the maritime aid operations?
The challenges are quite substantial. The makeshift jetties and floating piers that are being proposed will need ongoing maintenance and are also subject to weather conditions. This not only adds a layer of complexity but also significantly increases the cost of operations.
Speaking of costs, can you elaborate on the financial aspects of these aid missions?
The financial burden is immense. Salvatore Mercogliano pointed out that we're looking at costs in the millions, if not tens of millions of dollars, for the U.S. maritime mission alone. Despite this significant investment, the Pentagon has not released any official cost estimates yet.
With no U.S. troops landing in Gaza, how will these operations be managed?
The Pentagon has made it clear that while they are orchestrating these aid missions, no U.S. service members will set foot in Gaza. This means the operations will have to be managed remotely or by other means, which adds another layer of complexity to the already challenging logistics.
As we look at these developments, it's evident that the logistical and financial hurdles are massive, yet the humanitarian need is even greater. It will be interesting to see how these plans unfold in the coming months and whether they can effectively meet the needs of the people in Gaza.
Thanks for tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News today. We've delved into the intricate details of maritime aid missions and the challenges of delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza. Your presence and engagement make our discussions richer. Please subscribe, activate notifications, and share our content. You never know who might benefit from a deeper understanding of these critical issues. And we'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment.
And hey, who said news can't be fun? Make sure you're with us next time. We'll keep bringing you the fresh, the factual, and the fascinating, same time, every day. You wouldn't want to miss what we've got in store. It's going to be something special.
And from both of us here at Hot Topic and Fresh News, thank you once again for joining us. We're looking forward to having you with us on the next episode. Stay informed and engaged.
Remember, stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse. See you next time.